Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office with a very important weather forecast for you all for October the 6th, 2023. We got some big cold air to talk about with freeze warnings, frost advisories that could impact thousands, if not millions of people. And then we have a big storm that could be brewing in the deep south into the northeast by next week. If you're new, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with your family and friends on social media. So taking a look at your current weather satellite imagery with the current weather going on across the United States from the College of Dew page, and as we can see, we got a big trough of low pressure over Hudson Bay right now. We got another area of low pressure approaching northern Illinois as well as Indiana. This is going to bring in some big changes that you all need to be aware of. We got some cold air coming. We got some freeze warnings and frost advisories, and also some gusty winds that can make the air feel cooler. Then if we look back west, we got a big old fat ridge of high pressure bringing record high temperatures to San Francisco, to San Jose, where temperatures in the Bay Area are running in the mid to upper 90s. Even at the coast of Ocean Beach, reporting a current temperature of 92 degrees at this hour. Half-Moon Bay getting temperatures in the 80s, Southern California in the triple digits, all thanks to this oppressive early fall heat wave that is battering the Pacific Northwest, including for California. Looking at the latest Euro model for this afternoon, this is for Friday evening, Saturday early morning, October the 6th and the 7th, we can see where our disturbance actually is in the Great Lakes here. See that green? That indicates some rainfall that is actually coming down. Maybe some snowfall mixed in with that, even so it's not being indicated, because we got some pretty cold air to talk about. You can see this big old fat trough carving out across the Midwest. That's bringing well below average temperatures across the region today, and that's going to continue all the way through tomorrow. You can see by Saturday afternoon into the evening hours, we got that cooler air, and once this system, this is Philippe over here, and once it gets into this cooler air, what we call barrel clinic deepening, this thing is going to explode, and we're going to see some pretty intense rainfall and some strong winds over the extreme northeast. Look at those dark green colors. Boy, that's pretty intense rainfall, while much of the nation is going to be a lot calmer and drier, but still on the cool side, to say the least. And then look what we got going on here. This is almost 3 days out. We got a big system that is going to be stalling out over the southern portion of Hudson Bay, including for Quebec and Ontario, Canada. We even got some early season snowfall for those areas. So, I mean, what a ironic system, to say the least. In fact, that is Philippe. Philippe is going to kind of bend this way, right? It's going to kind of do that, which is very ironic for early October storms to do that. They usually should bend out towards the northeast, but this one is going to do something really weird for us as it bends towards the west. By the early to middle of next week, we also have to keep an eye on what happens across the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. Big changes to the weather are coming with a big storm, much cooler temperatures, more heavy rainfall, and more high elevation snow. We need it. It's been a warm one for a while here, and if we don't get the rain soon enough, it's going to just get drier and drier. But also, we got to keep an eye on what goes on over here in the Eastern Pacific, as well as the Southern and Western Gulf of Mexico, because these two systems are going to collide with one another, and it is going to create one of the biggest storms that we have ever seen in early fall or October. By Thursday morning, October the 12th, we can see there is our system from the Pacific Northwest going to bring snow for the higher elevations of the Colorado Rockies. We're going to see a big system developing in the Midwest, believe it or not. I know you all are going to say I'm hyping this up, but truly, this is going to be a big system because we have moisture that is going to be down here in the Gulf of Mexico. That's also going to be moving northeast, while this system does this, right? It's going to go from the west-northwest to the east-southeast, and as these two collide, it's going to get us a big system here in the making, and we can see that by Friday, October the 13th. Big system over Indiana. Pressure's down to 991 millibars. I know this is kind of early for such big systems like this, but these do happen occasionally, and this is going to bring in some big impacts for the upper Midwest, for the Great Lakes, and also for the Southeast. Lots of heavy rainfall, maybe some flooding. This could be a big system to cause a lot of flooding, and then that's going to impact the Northeast. Look how deep this is, 984 millibars. That is really strong for mid-October standards. And you can see these isobars, these are really tight, and these are in 4 increments, these lines. So while they don't look that tight at all, if we take a look at the 500 millibar height, my gosh, very, very tight isobars. This is a big system that we're all going to be seeing, and this has been trending for a while, you guys, with winds that are 50 to 60 knots on the northern side, and then that kind of explodes and moves into the northeast, bringing another shot of cold air on the back side of it. Most importantly, it's going to bring us some big time winds and heavy rainfall. Looking at those temperatures, yeah, big time temperature swings out there across the Midwest, and also for the western U.S. too. Temperatures in San Francisco today have reached the low to mid 90s. Yeah, that is really ironic, and that is definitely record book territory. Down across Bakersfield, Fresno, reaching almost 100 degrees today. Look at that for Arizona, almost 100 degrees there right now. Actually, at the airport reporting 101 degrees. And then when you go into the Midwest, you're probably asking, where did our hot weather go? Because it is going to be much cooler than what you've been used to. In fact, this could be the most significant Arctic outbreak of cooler air that we've seen so far this fall season, and probably since even last year in itself. I don't think we saw anything this big at all. Temperatures going to be in the 40s and 30s, and yeah, we even got some upper 20s right over here near Devil's Lake, and if you're over there near Rapid City, in South Dakota, we got temperatures that are going to be very cold. We got freeze warnings to talk about, and you can see these blue colors do illustrate that temperatures are going to be pretty cold. Freeze warnings, frost advisories, all the way down into central and northern Oklahoma. That is, my gosh, that is definitely absurd to see. Even in central Missouri, gonna see some really wild, cooler temperatures. And then, of course, down here, we got high fire danger because, again, we're gonna get some dry air. The northerly winds is gonna be lead to excessive fire danger, and the air or the vegetation down here have been very dry because we have had one of the worst droughts seen in 25 years. By tomorrow afternoon on your Saturday, it's not really going to warm up very much at all. Indiana staying in the 50s from the 40s at night. And yeah, you got some 40s up here in northern portion there of Minnesota. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s across the board, across the eastern half. But look at this, California and the West going to be baking and sizzling with temperatures in the 90s and triple digits for early October. I mean, this happens once in a while, but wow, maybe 100 plus degrees, 102 in some areas, like Stockton, maybe Modesto. Wow, that's definitely, you don't see that very often. And then look at, by Sunday morning, you're going to wake up with temperatures that are going to be in the 30s and 40s and even some 50s out there across much of the eastern U.S. And that's just going to continue. Very hot weather on Sunday, probably the hottest day of October. Potentially could have temperatures right around 100 degrees in California. Really, really ridiculous. I am not excited for it. And then once we get into next week, we have another big system that's going to drop down, and that's going to bring in more cooler temperatures. Look at this. Here it comes. Wait for it. And got some temperatures in the single digits in the Rockies, and then eventually maybe even some 20s, low 20s in the high plains of near Colorado. So yeah, big changes are coming, and you need to be aware of that. Looking at our temperature anomaly forecast, below average temperatures, anything in the green is 10 degrees below average. Anything in the darker orange colors are 10 degrees above normal in the shading. And so you can see going forward, below average temperatures will continue for the next several days, perhaps. Brief warm up to only cool down yet again with the second more aggressive Arctic air mass. Look at these temperatures, you all. Could be 15 to 20 degrees below normal for mid-October standards. The reason why is we have multiple areas of low pressure that is going to drop down from the north. We can see going forward, there's our first one right there. That's the one that's going to allow Philippe to get really strong and get pulled into it. So towards Maine, maybe New Hampshire, Vermont. And then that's going to stall out. And then watch what happens over here. Watch this over here in the Pacific Northwest, and watch what we go on down here near western portion there of Gulf of Mexico. These two systems are going to collide, and when they collide, they go, they hit hard. And when they hit hard, we have a big system, and we can see that really shaping up, really exploding very aggressively. 534s. Yeah, that's a big system, and that's going to bring in a lot cooler air because we got a block. We got a Omega Ridge right over here in the southern Canada, in the Pacific Northwest, with troughing here. This is a very amplified pattern where we're going to get a lot of cold air that wants to sag southward all the way down, even perhaps, you guys, in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico to help really cool those waters down. When we take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature anomaly forecast, you can see where all the warmer weather is going to be in the Pacific Northwest across California and Nevada. But look at this. We got below average temperature chances likely for the Midwest. Now looking at the 8 to 14 day forecast, it is just going to get colder and colder by the minute. We can see below average temperature chances over Atlanta, over Indiana, over Ohio, Pennsylvania. Going to see much far below average temperatures. And then of course across the Pacific Northwest, it's where the big ridge is going to be before we get a big cool down. That's why the reds and oranges are evolving quite nicely. When you take a look at the precipitation forecast, you can see above average chances likely for the eastern half of the U.S. with below average back west. This continues over the next 8 to 14 days, actually getting drier across the central U.S. Well, anyways, I sure hope this video was very helpful to you all. Please get ready for big changes coming. Big storms, much colder temperatures. I sure hope this video did help you out a lot. And if it did, please consider subscribing, sharing, and liking because you all mean a lot to me. And also be sure to check out my drone channel. There will be a link in the description below this video, as well as to our Discord server that opened up nearly a couple of weeks ago.